Yeah. Okay. Run. Okay, let's go.
너원 현 100m 우리 자리 학교 끝나면 회사 갈래 지금 바로 닦을게 제발 집엔 보내지 마세요 같은 그날의 꿈꿔 멍청이 지나는 때 I don't wanna go back again
Let's go.
심려들 wait from the bottom I got you back 우린 좀 빠른 Let's have a make 제발 we got us And tell me what you wanna want If you live fast let us die young 어느새 에너지 Make it move left and right 그게 누구든지 Make it move left and right
보면 party 우리 가솔린
It's good Are you ready?
Okay, let's go. Run, bulletproof, run, yeah, you gotta run, bulletproof, run, yeah, you gotta run, bulletproof, run, yeah, you gotta run, bulletproof, okay, let's go. 내가 말했어.
Hello, Army. How are you? Woo! Hello, everyone. This is Nisha T, and I am CEO and now somewhat creator of Living Bangtan 7. Bear with us, my friends. We are having such a hard time. There's been a lot of issues with StreamYard, which is why we had to boot from yesterday, doing the best we can to get it to work today. If for any reason, hello, beautiful people. Oh, I'm so happy we're able to see people. Hello from Germany. Hello from Chicago. Hello from Washington. Dude, I am a happy woman right now. Woo! And hello from Qatar, which is Angela, who's joining us from Doha. And our lovely Mini Money over from... Oops, you're muted. There you go. I tell you, StreamYard's been fun today. I hope you guys loved and enjoyed our montage that we started out with. I thought it was the right way to start our year. And hey, Angela, Lainey said hi. Our lovely friends over in our other group. I'm so happy to see everyone here today. So bear with us. If StreamYard boots us out, we will come back. Just give us a few seconds and we will keep coming back to you. It is the reason why we had a late start as well, because it keeps booting us off for gosh knows what reason. Don't know. I'm in the boondocks of Orlando, Florida. Don't know what's going on here. Hello, my friends, and welcome to 2023 and to the first show of Living Bangtan 7. Today we are doing BTS Rap 2022. The legend and the legacy continues, and we are going to be talking about our amazing and wonderful Bangtan Sonyeotan and what a year they had. I don't know that any of us could breathe.
No.
How many times did we all message each other and go, I can't keep up. I can't keep up. It was pretty insane. I use that word a lot this year, I think. It was pretty insane. Yep.
And I think once we started to look at the list, it just grew and grew and grew. And you realized how much they accomplished last year in a wide variety of things. It's really amazing.
And our list is not even complete because I was looking at it again and I realized we only have the highlights. Those are only the known highlights, and there are almost 50 things on there. There are 52 weeks in a year, people. Those are highlights, and there's about 50 things on there. And on top of that, in between those, they had other events, they had other commercials, they had other recordings they were doing, they had other commissions and the Louis Vuitton. They had so many other things going on. On top of that, in between all of those pieces, they were recording all those collabs. Man, when they said they were tired,
this year kind of reminded me of the Coca-Cola commercial where they had like the song that everybody's like, wait, when did they do this and where did it come from? And it's like really old, but none of us actually knew that they did it because I never saw the commercial until it was like all over Twitter.
I have it in the list. I was going to show it. I was like, how many of you know they did this?
It is such a good little collab.
We have our Samsung, we have our Koei, and we have our Hyundai, and then we have our xylitol, and then we have iSoul, for Seoul tourism, and every one of those has 2 to 3 commercials that they did. And those are involved. They're not simple commercials. They did a lot of work.
Yeah.
Our boys do love to be involved in anything they touch.
Sorry, I'm going to have a drink. Not alcoholic, I promise.
Yeah. They also had Tiny Tan working overtime and BT21 releasing music.
And then on top of that, they were recording for Tiny Tan and recording for BT21. The little bit that they did for BT21. Did you see Hobie's commercial just the other day for the BT21 music video releases for the new year? It was so adorable. Oh my God. Mary, she's got a ringtone on her voice. Aww. Thank you too, Carol, for being here. I really appreciate having you. I am so happy our chat feature is working today. It was not fun last week.
Great.
We are at 5:09. Bear with us if we actually have to go a few minutes after. I'm letting my 2 lovely guests, Mini Money, Jackie and Angela, know if they need to jump off. It's perfectly fine because I realize you both have a lot going on because I think you have to run, Jackie. But I'll do my best to try and get everything in here. We have a lot to bring you today. So let's go ahead and we're going to jump into our lovely doc here. So let's talk a little bit about 2021. And I like to say good morning, afternoon, and evening, Army, and Borahay from the LB7 team. And welcome to 2023. It already promises, with the Jin surprise video yesterday, to be an amazing year. And we know the boys won't be here, but at the same time, I'm so excited because it feels like they're going to find a way to be with us. And it's like a breath, right?
I'm not surprised that they found one way or another, even while they're gone, to communicate with us or talk to us, let us know that they're okay.
I don't think that Jin would have. I kept telling you, I just had a feeling he was going to find a way to communicate because he's a very, very determined person, but communicating with us is a very strong part of his psyche and his identity and what makes him happy. So I'm happy that he's able to be happy.
He's also been communicating with the boys. There's like a meme on Twitter going around that Seokjin will find time at any time, anywhere to call Hobie. So they've been communicating, which I love that for them. I'm glad that I have that communication with them still.
To see a cart. Okay. So just a really reiteration, because I think we have some new armies on today, and I think Jackie is going to help us out even when she's not on the show. Keep a track of the Twitter, just make sure, because that Twitter is the one that is not able to chat with us in the feature. That one did not get added back, so we definitely need to chat with you directly if anyone is coming to us live from Twitter. All the other channels seem to be working today. So
I'm watching the Twitter right now.
Oh, thank you so much. All right. So Living Bangtan 7 is a newer site and platform that we created just over a month and a half ago to bring BTS Army and fans in general, wellness discussions, content, and musings that is inspired by the Bangtan philosophy and message. And Bangtan, of course, we know is bulletproof. So the name is created and means living bulletproof 24/7. That is a way for us to discuss supportive structures and strategies through the Bangtan message that help us to be able to kind of stay protected and safe, which is what they're always wishing for us. And our purpose is to help us all learn how to live confidently with self-love throughout the day, and maybe help each of us develop wellness and coping strategies that could support our mental wellness and emotional health. As you know, I'm Nisha T. Molchan, and I'm the CEO and originator of the Healing Messages of Bangtan Theory Workshop and soon-to-be book, which hopefully will be published and available for digital download sometime soon. I'm working with a very lovely army, Sharon, who's going to be helping me with the final editing. And so a lot of the things that you're hearing me chat about today, or that you're going to see us putting up in the banners, like Jackie may throw up some of our little phrases, those are all things that come straight out of the book. And then Angela's gonna introduce our show today.
Great. So we developed the BTS Rap 2022, kind of a show for us to chat about really so much that happened during 2022 that it seems like a long time ago. And the beginning of 2022 does seem more than a year ago, considering how much was done over the course of the year. But to look at iconic, moving, relevant moments, events, messages, we were all left a little bit in the unknown, thinking what was going to happen in 2023, thinking about Jin, um, PTD Las Vegas. Was this the last time we're going to see them together? And then into Busan. So many things in between those as well. So for a year, really thinking about all of the things that they gave us in terms of content and music and things we were not expecting after Festa. Um, all the merch, almost really overwhelming us sometimes. And it was just all taken in with so much love. We were gifted with trust, especially at Festa, starting there to hear their emotional stories, things that they went through this in the last year as well. So it's been really heartwarming, sometimes almost a bit heartbreaking at times, but it's been a wonderful 2022.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so we have so much content that it's been a little bit hard for us to figure out what were the best ways to bring them to you. So what we did is we made a decision to go with, thank you so much, Jackie, for doing this. What we did is we subdivided as best as we could into 5 categories, and they're big categories. So we're going to drop those all into the chat, and we're hoping that that Army can also answer these questions, but we went ahead and we answered them. So the first thing that we did is we asked, what is one of the most meaningful BTS moments of 2022 for you? And then the next question.
Sorry, I'm in the chat.
Nope, I got it. I got the question.
Okay.
I got it. Don't you worry. Okay. This is not a question, but I do like to put this one up here every time. So if you want to answer this one, please. How has being Army helped with your wellness plan? And then we're going to jump down. So then the other questions are, let me just jump down, guys. It's been a day. Here we go. The one lesson you've learned that strengthens your self-love and love for Bangtan. That's the biggest question, I think. Here's the fun one. What is one of the funniest BTS moments of 2022? And there were
a lot.
Absolutely so many. And then what is one of the most meaningful? So we did iconic, and then we did meaningful. They're actually 2 totally different things. We kind of figured that out.
Yeah.
And then this one, what is the most surprising event or moment or quote of 2022 that kind of took you by surprise, but were you really surprised is the question. So we're going to go through, and I'm going to go ahead and start. Is that okay, Angela?
Yeah, great.
Jackie's going to help us out with some of those, keeping up with the chat. So Jackie will bring those answers up, and I'm going to go ahead and go into our Billboard list, because Billboard put out a list of 21 items that they felt were extremely iconic. And I kind of, I kind of agreed with quite a lot of what they had on here. So I made the decision to use theirs, whereas we could have used others, but we liked what they were bringing to us. And I remember thinking to myself that, it was a year where we were all left with a lot, not a bit of unknown, but a lot of unknown. And it was a rolling state of the unknown. And they knew that that's how we were going to feel. So the way that the content rolled out, it ended up being, it filled every moment of uncertainty and unknown, actually to the point, like you said, where sometimes it was like, whoa, what is this? But it always kept us happy, right? And I think that was the thing for me that was already meaningful. For the entire year, we had an entire year of extremely meaningful content.
Yeah.
It's not that we haven't had it before, but this year, with the shocking, announcements and the movement into chapter 2 and the planning for the individual enlistments, the fact that they gave us content that was so meaningful to us really was meaningful. Okay, I know I'm being redundant, but was so essential for my own wellness. So, and as we said, many thought that the boys would fade and BTS would fade, but no, not going to happen. Okay, so we thought about the best way to recap, and this is to look at our emotional, connective impacts and influences of BTS. So we're going to start with the 21, and we're going to go through pretty quickly because it's a lot. But if there's a specific one that I speak about that you want to talk to, Army, please put it into the chat and we'll try and we'll highlight it.
Yeah.
Okay, so Billboard's pick starts with, I'm going to start with the first two, and then Angela will go into the next two, and Jackie will go into the next two, and that's kind of how we'll do it, okay?
Okay.
So from 1 to 22, from 4 members making their debuts on the Hot 100 to internationally acclaimed festivals and collaborations, the guys were thriving on a global scale. I actually like that title, that they put it like that. So I was like, I'm going to say it. Guys, I didn't even do a picture of this, but they won IFPI's Global Recording Artist of the Year award for the second time in a row. And according to the IFPI, the distinction is a culmination of an artist or group's worldwide performance across digital and physical music formats, including streaming and vinyl, and spans their entire discography. Second time in a row, the only musical group in history to achieve that. That status. It's incredible, absolutely incredible. And for a group that has only a 10-year discography, the richness and fullness of it, the fact that they were able to achieve those sales is incredible. Okay. And then their number 2 was the spy-inspired performances at the Grammys, because I wrote in here that it was a concept created for a number of reasons, because one, because the Grammys asked them to make it eye-catching and exciting, and 2, because it was a depiction of the 7 Korean boy band infiltrating the largest Western entertainment market share with finesse and grace. And I got that from the Weverse article that they wrote about it. If you guys remember that. And that for me was actually on my list, the launching of the Weverse articles, the way that we're getting them. Okay. Angela?
Yeah, sure. This is often not talked about a lot, but they're college graduations. So we have Jungkook graduating from Global Cyber University, with the Department of Broadcasting and Entertainment, and he also won the President's Award. So, not enough is made about also the things that they're doing that for us would take a lot of time as well. It's amazing that he can do that at the same time. They made group history at the Billboard Music Awards, so that was amazing as well. Jimin, his number 1 soundtrack with You, topped Billboard's digital song sales and spent 7 weeks at the hot trending songs, atop the hot trending songs list. So that has been also a wonderful thing, and it's still even continuing on different charts right now.
It is.
Hopefully we'll see him at the Seoul Music Awards too.
Army voting. Army voting.
Yes, there's so much to vote on right now. They're doing so much.
Okay.
Right. And then following with that, the BTS permission to dance on stage, their Seoul concert, it did huge in the box office and business. The screening earned $6.9 million in North America to become the top grossing live cinema event of all time. Which, wow, I don't know about y'all, but I love watching them on the big screen too.
It was crazy. 800 theaters.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Insane. And then they met President Biden.
Yay!
Which I loved. So President Biden recognized BTS's influence as 21st century icons. And he quotes, "People care a lot about what you have to say, and what you're doing is good for all people." He also said, "It's not just your talent, it's the message you communicate. It matters," which I think that was actually really incredible. for like
Yeah.
lack of better
And
words.
they were at the White House to speak to President Biden about happy diversity and inclusion and violence and what could be done. And they weren't the only artists who did come in, but they were being who they are. They were one of the artists brought in to represent their area and the community and to help, the administration understand how to work on strategies to reduce violence against the API communities across the globe, but of course across the U.S.
And you just, one thing that sticks out to me in that also was he then said, and your one president, this president really, what did he say? Thanks you for what you do or something like that. And Arm
Yep.
says, I need to go tell my mom. You know,
I know.
it's like, it's so sweet. So sweet.
I know when he puts on butter and he was like, you realize, oh, he actually knows the song. He must have played it, because they could have just placated and he's like, let me put this song on. Oh man, I think it was yes. Let me tell you that moment as an Asian woman, and not to separate myself, but understand as an Asian woman, I proudly heralded across every platform possible in my family. And
Mm,
my family, of course, were extremely proud of this moment to be able to see this happen because they know my love for Bangtan, but it's been a slow build of them understanding just how indelible the footprint is that they've been leaving in terms of climate and environment and sustainability and socioeconomics. I won't say sociopolitics because that's not something they choose to work within, but they don't have a choice in what people write about them in that way, if that makes sense. So let's see. We're going to run on to our next two. There's so much to say just about that. And then going back on, we're going to talk about BTS. The next one sets another in a long string of box score records by playing the fewest shows to be a top earner in tours with only 4 shows. And we all know that's PTDLV. And what happened at Bora Hagus? And I
I loved it.
oh my God, Bora Hagus was a phenom. Phenom. The amount of money and influx of jobs and individual artists and fueling an economy and resurging and reviving the food industry and fashion and just so a massive influx of fans from across the globe. But not just that, it was also the online community, right? Also reaching in and also showing love throughout Las Vegas and Las Vegas communities. It wasn't it was just it was mind-boggling to be a part of it, right? To be part of
Magical, honestly.
the purple wave, man. That was incredible.
And I think someone just mentioned in the comments previously that was the first time they'd met their Army sisters. And that was one of the groups that I belong to. And for us to be able to finally meet, and I know that other Army groups, together, there's Terry, met other groups as well. It was really powerful. What also happened outside of the concert with people and their connections too.
Oh gosh, yeah. So Bora Hagus, I've been to LA, but I was only able to do one because of situations being what it is. I went to other concerts in between, but PTDLV, the divine the precedence and intervention was there, and I was able to go to all 4 concerts. It was astounding, my Army experience. It was astounding. And I met some of my best friends who today are the closest people in my life to me. So yeah, I know the one thing that happened is with Bora Hagus is the boys had wanted to create a festival event and they were going to do it for months, but because obviously a pandemic, they could not do it. But they then wanted to give us this gift of this festival environment, which we knew because we've been hearing it for a long time. And they brought in a brand new team to do it. I don't know, a lot of people understand that an entire new team was hired globally. It's not like it was in Korea, guys. It was a global team that was brought in to bring this together and to create what we had in Las Vegas. There's so many pieces to that puzzle, which have now continued to flow, because those of you who've been through Yet to Come in Busan, etc., you know how what the new flow is like, and what the environment and that they're trying to create for us. So okay, I can't stop in between every time. Tell me to keep talking.
Okay, I will keep you on track. I'll tell you
Keep
to
me
stop.
on track.
I got you.
Okay, you want to get this one, Jackie?
Where did
This
we
is a
stop?
big old one. So a three
Okay,
set turned.
Okay, so the 3-disc set earned 314,000 equivalent album units in the US in the week ending June 16th across of Luminate of Proofs.
According to Illuminate. Illuminate
Okay.
is
There we go.
new they're like the Hantio, or that counts, that keeps a count. Mhm.
Oh, okay. I did not know that. We learn
Yep.
something new every day. So of Proofs 314,000 equivalent album units. Album sales comprise 266,000 C units, then comprise 36,000 for 52.84 million on-demand official streams. Wow, good job, Army. That's
Yep,
crazy.
that's Army.
And T units comprise 12,000. Billboard reports how, at the time of its release, the album was 2022's biggest week for an album by a group, both in units earned and in album sales, and scored the largest sales week for an album on CD in the US since Adele's 30 sold 378,000 CDs in the first week, ending November 25th, 2021.
That was a mouthful. But
Yes.
my God. I mean, this is
Amazing.
this is our boys.
Mhm.
Okay, I'll go. August 2022, Bad Decisions marked the group's milestone 10th top 10 hit. Longtime Army will remember when the first hit entered the top 10 in 2018, and that was Fake Love. Can you imagine? It took Fake Love or Fake Love. Sorry. Oh my God. And since then, they will routinely have a song in the top 20. So that's pretty incredible. And of course, this is where Jackie and I met.
Hobie Palooza!
Palooza! J-Hope joining the Chicago Festival was already historic, making him, and you see I waters just because of him. Was already historic, making him the first Korean artist to headline a major U.S. music festival. But on top of that, which we'll talk about later, were the absolute historic records that he set. But that's going to be a little later. Okay, Angela, it's up to you.
Yeah. So we had Left and Right. So after hitting 22 on the Hot 100, number 28 on the radio songs, JK had a certified top 40 hit of his own. So that was a great release. We then had The Astronaut. He gave the song its live debut during Coldplay's Music of the Spheres tour in Buenos Aires River Plate Stadium. The Argentina show was broadcast live across 3,500 or 35,000?
1,000, sorry. That's
30,000 movie theaters in more than 80 countries.
right.
So that was a huge gift, of course, from Jin.
I actually think it's 3,500. I believe it's their mistake, because
That sounds right. That sounds, yeah.
But I'm pretty sure it's 3,500. That would
Amazing.
But this is for Jin, of course.
Mhm.
And then Rolling Stones Musicians on Musicians cover for the first time ever. We had, it actually was the first time ever that we had a Korean artist taking part and leading. So RM and Pharrell met to discuss music, tease an upcoming collaboration, and share new details on their forthcoming album. Take it away, Jackie.
Okay. And then November 2023, BTS picked up 3 Grammy nominations in November for the upcoming 2023 ceremony. I'm so proud.
Can I say this one?
Yep, of course. Because
I got to
who was there?
I got to go to this one. Jungkook representing Korea at the World Cup. That was an amazing moment. And also, one of those moments I think we've talked about this year, reaching audiences that maybe are not always so familiar with them.
Yeah.
So sitting in that crowd, men, football fans, It was a whole interesting crowd to see JK out there, and it was amazing. It was amazing that I got that moment.
It was definitely iconic as somebody who's very into football with a family that's very into football. Watching the opening ceremony, I wasn't with them, but I remember I was in New York. I remember my mom texting me like, "One of your Asian boys is singing a song," and I'm like, "Wait!" I was like, "Yeah, mom."
I love it. Well, I was just
Mhm.
bouncing around in here. My kids and I was like, they all watched it with me, and oh, I was so proud. And then I knew you
Well,
were there, Angela. So I was like,
yep.
ah.
And the him also culturally, right, being very respectful, to the Qatar culture. The video, was shot in a very iconic historical place. So that was, really amazing that the Qatar culture and people really embraced him too. So that's been really a whole nother group of people that have kind of fallen in love with him.
I I have to say that a lot of people fell in love with JK, the voice, and so leading
Mhm.
into 2023, which we're gonna, and that's gonna be
Mhm.
next year's wrap. Him getting now named in the top 200 iconic
Mhm.
voices of the century,
Mhm.
because the fact is, so many people listen outside, of course, BTS, which is beautiful. That's what
Yeah.
matters. What matters is that his
Yeah.
voice is spreading, his
Yeah.
beautiful intonation, his beautiful personality. It's just beautiful everything. The
Mhm.
whole world got a chance to share in that, and it's like
Mhm.
being a proud mom, you know,
Mhm.
getting this chance to just share our little boy
Mhm.
with everybody. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I've been watching him since he was 15.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, him and
So,
I are the same age though, so I can't be his mom, but I've been watching him that long time too, and it's crazy.
aw,
Well, I think, wasn't Yoongi watching it, and he said, "Our little boy has
our
grown
little
up."
boy's grown up.
Mhm.
Oh man! And then Yoongi showed us the cat,
Yes.
and then the cat became
Suddenly,
trending.
Yoongi Had the Cat was trending on Twitter.
Mhm.
I was like, dude, he's so funny. He knew.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that he, to watch their Instagrams as they were following him, and just so proud. And then
Mhm.
the last one on this list, and then we're going to go into our own recollections,
Mhm.
is RM, Jin, V, and Jungkook all joined the Hot 100 First Timers Club in
Yeah.
2022. So I did the timeline on it. And so V was January 8th with Christmas Tree, and he joined at number 75. Can you imagine? An OST, people. It's an
Mhm.
OST,
Mhm.
and it made
Mhm.
number 75. So it's a double accolade to understand that it's not a regular solo release. It was an OST release that actually
Mhm.
made it was actually, I think there's only two that's happened to. I may be wrong. I'll have to check
Mhm.
myself, but I think it's only been two. The second is Jungkook in February, reaching number 95 with Stay Alive, which I
Mhm.
will say that was at the First Timers Club release. Jungkook Stay Alive is still streaming in the top 10 on a regular basis between in Spotify and I think one other streaming platform. And then Arjuna. Oh man. Who could have predicted this one, guys?
No.
Who could have
No,
predicted this?
that would have been the last thing I would have thought when they said Jin is gonna have his first solo stage with Astronaut.
Mhm.
Argentina with Coldplay. I would have never guessed that.
Never
No.
would have guessed it.
Not on your bingo card this year, huh?
Not
No,
on my army bingo card.
but he achieved not just the first time the 100 first timers club, but he is sustained. He entered at number 51, which is the highest place for any of the
Amazing.
BTS members. And then RM with Wildflower in December reached number 83. So we started the year with the bang and we ended the year with the bang. Isn't that interesting? In January, February, and then back in November and December. I do
Mhm.
think that with Jimin releasing vibe, that collab is really going to probably take the numbers by storm as
It's
well.
gonna be huge.
It's going to be massive. I'm sure
Yeah.
everyone is quite aware of how massive that's going to be. And then we have new music coming from the rest of the members. So I'm excited. I'm
Yeah.
so excited. So we're gonna go take 2 seconds to look at any. I think Army's been giving us some of their love as well. Did we get a chance? Oh yeah, the cat conspiracy. Yes, cat conspiracy.
Whose cat is it? We don't know. It
We
might
don't
not
know.
be his.
It might not be. It could just be he was cat sitting. It's
But
possible.
the conspiracy is that I think Hobie said that he found a stray cat, and people think that that's the stray cat that Yoongi
Yes.
took it in.
Right.
So,
They all have this soft spot for cats.
Mhm.
Well, Tay has more of a soft spot for dogs, and but what a year! What a year! Okay,
Mhm.
so we are at 5:40. Yes, Jin has been a fabulous music idol, 1,000%. And we're going
Mhm.
to treat you as we talk and get ready to a couple pictures. We're just going to scroll them through while we get ready for our next segment. In our next segment, Jackie could put those up if you get a second. We're going to go ahead and start talking about our iconic, those 5 categories. And we're going to start with the most connective moments. And that would be an event, a message, a speech, or a statement that we closely identified with and had a strong connective power for Army or the world at large. We are going to go through the 5, and then at the end, we are going to power read and push through that list and hopefully get that entire list done and read out to you before we end the show. So let's see if we can do this, Army. We have exactly 36 minutes left to go. We can do this. Okay. So, do you want me to start?
Sure.
Okay. So for the most connective moments, where we really had a strong connection, a powerful identification with that particular experience, I'm going to start with some of my own. It was the White House visit, which I already spoke to you about, and the speech the members made in the press room. If I have to choose between the two, while I'm, of course, the fact that they met with the president is, I mean, that's second to none in terms of what that accolade. But as each of them came up to that podium and made their speech,
In
my
Korean.
in Korean, my heart just grew and grew and grew, and it filled because I was so proud. I was more proud of the fact that they said those speeches were done in Korean. And each of them just beautifully represented, and each of those speeches were so beautiful. And then at the very end, the journalist going, fighting, Bangtan fighting. It was
adorable.
it was everything. It was like there's Army in the house. It made the boys so happy. And I tell you, we needed that. They needed that. And that was that was only in the end of May. We still had so many months to go. I will go backwards to the FESTA discussion, but for me, the FESTA discussion, when each member shared openly that their work life hasn't always allowed them to be who they need to be or can be, it was that particular lesson that I connected to, because I've been here with them for a long time. And oh, you guys know I will cry over this because you know. And I know that as an Asian child, how difficult it can be to reconcile to those types of difficulties and pressures to be something when that's not who you're supposed to be. But for them, how much worse or how much more difficult it has been, and that they actually openly trusted us to hear those stories, and they knew Army would understand. And how do we know that for a fact? Because the next day when media went crazy, RM said, well, it doesn't matter. Army understood us, right? When he made the statement in Weavers, and that circle was everything, because I knew that they trusted us to be able to listen to them, hear them, love them in spite of everything, and to support them. Then for me, it was the Weavers articles, and I told you, it's the craziest thing. It's not that the boys wrote the articles, but it was articles about them, right? And it revealed things to me that helped me to understand them so much. The Weavers articles that so beautifully told us the story behind the Grammy Butter choreo, and understanding that it was scripted for them to be a representation of their infiltration and their ability to step into this world that no one expected them to step into. And isn't that just life? Isn't that life? Isn't that
Mhm.
something that we are always facing as human beings? How
Mhm.
can we step into a world when we're not sure that we belong in that world? And
Right.
for me, that for me, I connected to in every way. And it's pushed me to do what I'm doing today, to be here with all of you. So if you want to know one of the things that brought me to making LB7, I will tell you it's when I read that article. And then when I read the article behind Proof, the Proof exhibition, and understanding how it was created and why the exhibition was put on as it was, Angela and I were there. We saw that exhibition. So we can tell you how moving it was.
Mm.
Uh,
Amazing.
it
Yeah.
was, wasn't it?
Yeah. Overwhelming.
Yeah, I did it 6 or 7 times. And I
Yeah.
took my time in each space so that I would be able to
Yes.
fully piece out what it was they were asking me to feel emotionally and
Yeah.
what it was they were trying to tell us.
Mhm. Mhm.
Difficult to explain to anyone, I think, until you actually get to walk through it. And
Yeah.
right, don't and I hope everyone does get it. I really do. Um,
Yeah.
and then so I won't go through all of it, but then the reason the folios were created and imagined, and the story behind the Run BTS choreo, and how
Mm.
that choreo incorporates other choreo, telling a story from the beginning of the Run BTS choreo to the end. How many of us did not realize that there was an entire story embedded in that choreo? it it's just insanely
Yeah.
important that when I learned all of those things, to know just how much they love us and they trust us, to
Right.
be able to know who they are.
Mhm.
And then my last one, because I know I'm watching my timing, is I know it's no one else's iconic moment, but my friend Asha, who may or may not be listening today, I met her for the first time on this day. It was June 10th. All right, I'm not gonna make it.
No, no waterworks. It's okay, breathe.
I may not make it, so you guys are gonna have to get me through this moment. Kathy, it was the Run BTS choreo. Go back to the
Mm.
Weavers articles and the blog and read the article about the Run BTS choreo, so that
Mhm.
you can so you understand what's embedded into it.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking the question because it got me to calm. June
Mhm.
was the first time ever I got to spend an album release and comeback with the boys. That I was physically in their presence for an album comeback. Um, that was a moment for me as Army, and as all of us as Global Army, where we had sat and waited for so long, and we
Mm.
weren't sure what was going to be given to us.
Mhm.
So having been in Las Vegas with
Mhm.
you, and we were
Mhm.
all there at that last stage, and
Mhm.
we watched that stadium go black, and then
Mhm.
watched We Are
Yep.
Bulletproof screen.
You're bulletproof. Yep.
Just we all roared. I stood there in that moment in front of KBS and watched them enter, for that, listening to the song that day, and watched them then turn around and watched all of them for the first time 7 feet in front of me, and watching them enter. And all I could think was that moment to this moment,
Yeah.
like two phrases coming together, because this had been the first time in years that they'd done a comeback and had been back at a music bank or Inkigayo or KBS. So
Mhm.
it was like this synchrony, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
And I felt like, God, to have been there at that moment when we first heard it, and then to be here at this moment when it happened. It
Mhm.
it I don't have any words for that, but I'm
Yeah.
gonna let you imagine what I felt,
Yeah.
and what it meant to me after waiting
Mm.
7.5 years to get that chance. So
Mhm.
sorry.
It's all
ah.
good.
So we're gonna go. Angela, you want to go over some of yours now?
So I had. Do you want me to go into some iconic moments?
Go ahead. Yes.
Okay. One of the things for me, and it was a very special time to spend also with the Atlas Army that I also group that I belong to, was BTS in Vegas, and turning in Las Vegas, hotels turning purple, the Bellagio fountains, everything turning purple. Um, and they thought about so many things in that iconic time hotels with the packages, and just the whole, the food, um, the water fountain. I mean, so many things that they touched. I remember taking, taxis around Vegas, and the taxi driver's like, "What is going on in Vegas?" They were loving it, but they had no idea who BTS was. Um, and Hobie performing at Lollapalooza, right, being the first Korean act. Nisha talked about that as well. Largest crowd in Lollapalooza history, highest selling ticket artist, not to mention his transformation. I was asleep in a hotel in Boston and opened the phone to watch it live, and I went, and everybody's like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" My family, because I thought when he walked out, I literally took a large breath seeing him, because I was not expecting that. But for me, those were some iconic moments. Also, and Anisha and I talked a lot about the White House visit the other day being kind of an iconic moment as well. Performing, we talked about this the other day too. Nisha was the cipher in Busan, and changing some of the words in the song to maybe give a little message to some of the government and VIPs that were sitting up there. It was very clear that they had a strong message to what they were feeling about enlistment and rumors and all of these kinds of things, that they were going to take control of their own lives and what was going to happen next. And that was absolutely iconic.
Yeah, I know. I'm just thinking. I'm sorry. You know how I am. I'm thinking
yeah.
about what it was to stand there in that moment and hear that. And
Yes.
in my iconic moments, but heartfelt moments, was to stand in that same space with you and hear 4 songs that I knew it wasn't going to happen again.
Yeah.
And as we stood there and we realized these songs that we were hearing that we never expected to hear, what was not going to happen again. And then knowing that Army was sharing it with us around the world. Like you and I talked about how, and on all of us in our group talked in those moments about what it was to be in that sea of people.
No.
And it was not easy, but to
Yeah.
also realize how historic it was that we stood there and that we watched what was unfolding around us, and we watched and we got to see the last time that the boys will have performed in this way, these songs, and it's just the incredible nature of it. So
Yeah.
I am going to actually go off screen for 2 seconds, guys, because I have a tech glitch, but I'm going to let you go ahead and continue. Jackie, you want to go on with your next one?
Sure. I just want to say jealousy's a disease because I didn't get to go to Busan, but I'm happy for you guys. But I guess I'll go into my iconic moment because I lost myself in the Google Docs, but they're mostly the same thing. For me, Las Vegas was insane. It was my first concert with them. And not even that, is I got to experience it with a friend that I made through the internet because of BTS. And then rooming with complete strangers that were also Army that I got to meet for the first time. And now they're really good friends. Getting to see Vegas in purple, getting to see how, like, the Bellagio fountain played their song, the purple everywhere. But I think it's everywhere. That was insane. And then I went straight from Vegas. I ended up going to Hobie Palooza, which is where I met Nisha. And being in that crowd, if you guys watched Hobie Palooza on Hulu, I don't think you guys will ever understand what it was like to be in that crowd. The moment that he popped out of that Jack in the Box, my ears were ringing of how loud everybody screamed for him.
Yeah.
Along with, like, every time he sang, well, I tell you, everybody knew his music word for word, verbatim.
Yeah.
The energy, everything, Army, it was crazy.
Right.
And then we got Festa, which I talked about it with Nisha. It took me such a long time to get through Festa, like their video. Just because, of course, we know that they don't always like show us like the down times or whenever they're struggling and stuff like that. So seeing them talk about it so openly, trusting us, because that was not a video meant for the masses.
Right.
That was a video meant for us.
Right.
You know, they didn't care what interpretation other people took from it because, like Nisha said, they knew we would understand. And that's all they needed. And for some odd reason, out of all the years that I've been standing them since 2014, 2015, that gave me this weird sense of validation of they really care about us and we really care about them. Not that I never did not feel that way, but it was just different. It was like an olive branch, like we still trust you despite of everything that we've gone through and all these things that we're talking about, but we still trust you guys.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing that we all had that moment? Sorry.
No, yeah, because you and I talked about it.
Very much so. For me, I'm going to jump in with your Hobie Palooza because I met you and you and I are just, this is crazy because this is how I think the world works with Army, right? I don't think this is how it works. We connect in a way that's so indelible, but it's so heart to heart. And the reason we connect in that way is because of the boys. There would be no connection point for people who are from across the globe without this one beautiful light ball of, ray of light that sits there, that just radiates all of us and just fills us with this warmth, with this hope, with this support, with this love that we all that we all then become one and unified. And it creates in us a family atmosphere and a family dynamic and an energy that I'm going to say it's never going to happen again. I want it to. I want the whole world to be like this. I want the whole world to understand what it is to be us and to have this type of love that we can have between all of us. And I hope it'll happen. I really do. Welcome everybody, even if you're inquiring about who the boys are in any way, shape, or form, their music, their lyrics, their message. You don't have to love everything that they do. I often say this to my kids. You don't have to love their music to love them. You don't have to love their music or their content to respect them. There's so many different layers to who they are as human beings. And the fact that they give us the access that they had, I will run it straight back to the fact of what Jin just gave us. What he gave us yesterday. It speaks volumes to who these 7 boys are and how much they love us. Who? How do we deserve? It's incredible. So, did I cut you off in the middle of all of it? Where did we get to?
We're ready to start the most meaningful moments of the year.
I think we jumped into that a little bit about
Look at some of those,
about Jen on the stage with Coldplay and Chris. But for me, I wrote about Chris opening his arms for that hug. I think the meaningful moment was not just that it happened, but it was in that moment, Jin had a young. Jin had Chris name. He had an elder brother. He had elder brothers. He had the support and the love of someone who said, "Come and let me do this for you."
Yeah.
Again, it's just that look on Chris's face to me when he reached out for him. God, yes. The happiness that Jin had in those moments, I couldn't even. And then we just got his Bangtan bomb. We waited 2.5 months for that Bangtan bomb, and we saw just how happy he was when he was doing his groove, bounce. That's what they labeled it. Remember?
Yeah, hilarious.
Oh my God! It isn't just that, but then the other one for me is going to be the moment when we stood at Hobie Palooza, and then there's 4 at least, but Hobie Palooza, and I was so just everyone knows I was front barricade. I was absolutely in the front. If you're looking at any of the content, you're going to see me. I was the one with the pink Hobie arson shirt on, and even when it was dark, my bright pink stuff was easy to see. So never in my life did I expect that to happen, any more than I expected to be June 10th standing in front of them, any more than I expected to be in Las Vegas. None of that did I expect. Standing there in that moment, the moment I heard Hobie sing Ego, ego for me had been something that had helped me to get back on my feet again after being ill, which you guys know I am, and that I deal with something chronically. And the fact that I was able to get on my feet again, and Hope World did what it did for me. And then for me to stand there and listen to that live, not just standing there, but I stood there for 11 and a half hours.
Oh yeah, that was tough.
When I should never in all of my
Yeah.
possibilities have been able. Oh, Kathy, I should never have been able to do that. How was
Right.
it even possible that I had the
Right.
fortitude? What he gave me that day, I
Mm.
can never replace that. I could
Mhm.
never. But his face, guys, when we all started singing the song,
Mhm.
he took that pause. Everyone saw his face, and he was like,
Mhm.
"What? Wait, everybody here knows my song."
Mhm.
Yeah, because he was worried that he was like, is Army like who's gonna be in the crowd?
Yeah.
Little
Yeah.
did he know we were all in the crowd. Like the aerial view of the crowd still
Yeah.
surprises me because I was like, wait, I was right there, and there was this sea of people behind me that he could see the sea of army bombs that he
Yeah.
would normally see in group activities. So it was, I can't even imagine how he felt.
Yeah. Yeah.
An iconic moment for him, and I'm so happy that he keeps having those moments now, like when he goes to perform like at the end of year awards last year and all of that. I'm glad that he's having, like, I guess a little more sense of validation that apart together army will move with them regardless.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Sarah. Honestly, I think while we were standing there, we were so lost in those moments.
Mm.
It's like this space of pure energy. Like this thing happens to you, and you're just completely enveloped in this like huge hug, a huge embrace, and it just you just move and you move. That's what Lala was. It was pure dynamic energy.
It was a fever dream.
It was a fever dream.
Mhm.
Yet to Come Busan was very similar to that, but it was a different form of that.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
different form of that. So
Yeah.
I'm good. So I'm putting those, and then I definitely put when Wildflower music video was released, and I was fully stunned into silence for 35 to 40 minutes. I speak a lot because I speak with my nervousness, but you guys see how I move and things. I was so completely stunned that I couldn't speak. I couldn't formulate words. I couldn't anything. As an older army, I realized just how prolific and revealing this was for Namjoon to share in a visual expression just how lost and in pain he'd been for so long.
Yeah.
And I could look at that and traverse in my mind years and years of moments. And that's what Indigo gave us. Indigo gave me as Army for a long time, and then you as maybe Army who maybe who's new. It gave us the ability to go back and look at it and reflect on it with him and take a step back in time and go, oh, oh. But then the Wildflower music video,
Mhm.
Jackie, what's the moment in the music video? What is it?
That moment where it turns into army bombs.
Yes.
He's on stage. Oh,
When he's on stage and the flowers turn into army bombs, I don't know if you can understand if just how important of a statement that was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not for him only, it's for all of them. And
Yeah.
it's for the industry at large because they launched things at Big Hit and as Bangtan that have now become normalized in the rest of the industry. But things that they started, things that they began. So those moments were iconic, moving, revealing everything under the sun. And then, I know I'm watching, we're doing pretty good with time. So um, I'm going to put kudos to myself on this one. Yes. Everybody. Oh, you could get those messages. I don't know how I figured this out. And then I told everybody else. but I was in like the first 6 or 7,000 people who figured out what Udo was.
Mm.
I don't know. I don't know how I figured it out. There was just something that made sense to me about why is this little cute thing that's from an alien from space talking about Sukjin. Wait a minute. It can't have access to Sukjin's pictures. And I was like, wait a second. Army, this is Sukjin. This is actually him. And this is him giving us full access to him.
Right.
Like, it was unheard of. We had
Right.
just barely gotten them in December of last year, which was, of course, the open reveal to solos that we got their solo instas. And here we were getting full access to him because none of the others can we actually respond to them. And in
Right.
this one, we were able to.
Right.
What a beautiful, beautiful moment it was to trust us to be able to not spam him so so badly and know that we would respond appropriately. And we did, because I would sometimes look at the response because everybody was so nice in there. Everybody was so loving and kind.
Yeah.
That was another really huge moment for me. And another one which I didn't put, and I'm going to let you move on to your next one there, because I'm going to go in, and I'll let you handle the last two categories, is Jimin's portfolio. Jimin's folio.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
The moment I saw the texture and tone, my daughter I can open the door and she can tell you, her mother, I started to cry.
Mm.
I just tears. The
Yeah.
moment I saw the texture and tone of chaos, all I could think was 100,000,000,000%. I understand this. I get this. And there's a lot I want to say about it, and it's not. Those are personal conversations. I won't say them here. But he gave us access to see the sides of himself that
Right.
he has been hiding behind a mask for so long. And he gave us an access to see with what he wore,
Mm-hmm.
things that he wore, that there was expressions of who he is that I adore so much. And I hope and I pray that at one day, that whoever they are, they don't have to tell anybody anything, just be.
Right.
I just want them to exist in a space of pure, absolute identity, pure identity. This is who I am. I love who I am. This is who I am. Accept me for who I am. In that moment, that's all I saw in that folio.
Yeah.
That is what I saw. The folios for me are one of the most iconic things that they have brought us ever.
Amazing.
I'm saying ever, not just 2022. And we haven't even gotten them all. So
No, I'm not ready for the rest.
you're not ready for Yoongi's yet?
We have
I'm scared for Yoongi's. I don't know what.
Hobie's next, my dear. And Hobie's, I heard, is going to be something.
He has leather pants on.
He has leather pants on.
Long legs. Mm-hmm.
Oh, long thin legs, those poor boy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're gonna. Do we want to go into the next? Because we have we have 20 minutes.
You want to go into some of the funniest moments?
We could. I just wanted to make sure and give Tiffany shout outs. Tiffany's shout out for the most most iconic was performing Cypher at Busan and then announcing the enlistment plans and dropping that line, "You can't control my SHIT," right in the face of the government. Absolutely iconic. That was Tiffany. Festa and their hiatus announcement was in her meaningful moments. Namjoon showing us around his apartment and how special it was to be let in to see his personal space is Sarah's moments. And when Joe realized Army was singing, we both had the same moment. And then, okay, we're good for funniest moments.
Okay, really quick, I do have to hop off.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Bye, you guys.
Bye,
in the last 20 minutes.
Bye, love. Okay, so funniest moments is going to be, do you want to start those?
Sure. I mean, if I think back a bit to my Army journey, one of the things that I thought that was kind of captured me was things that would pop up that were not associated with like songs and videos. And I'm like, what is this group doing? Why are they doing these other things so much? And it kind of captured my attention because I realized they were so comical. And so the announcement, that Run BTS would continue really brought a smile back to Army's faces because that's such a source of happiness and literally out loud laughter. Sometimes people will be like, "What are you laughing at out loud?" And I'm like, "Well, they're on a water slide." And
They're like, why is that funny? But you don't
and
get
he's on a water slide and he goes upside down and he goes BTS forever, and you literally laugh out loud. So the continuing of that, the newer episodes, that we had in 2022 were a little more relaxed, allowing them still to continue to be comedic and witty. The frog masks when it came back, of course, were epic and sold out right away everywhere. And of course, we have to give honorary mention to the Run BTS caption, the editors that continue to
Oh my God.
amaze us with their editing and captions. I also thought one of the funniest things was after that came out, and everywhere JK was, when his vlog camping, some back stage things, he was like, that I like that, and he was continuing just to harass Yoongi about the choreography, even
Even on the Koei commercial making film, he's in there
yes,
doing it.
behind the scene, and he just is like, and it just constantly doing that choreography was just epic. But then what I also remembered this year, and it was just a short little thing, was when it was JK's birthday and he had on the live, and Jin came with the grapes. And Jin came with the grapes and put the grapes all over his cake.
His
And
old
recently I was
school
just at the Korean grocery store I told you about, and they had those grapes, and they
milk.
were $29 a pound.
Yep.
And my sister and I are like, we're buying them because we need to taste these because we heard that these are like the most amazing grapes,
They
and
are.
they were amazing.
They're astounding.
Um, so that definitely, the whole interaction with Jin and JK in his birthday video was hilarious as well. But of course, V being my bias, I always, realize in Vegas he has a whole different like let loose, a little more free spirited. And
Mhm.
there's a flip, where he says something and the translator translates it and doesn't say the words, and V goes, "No, I said," and da da da, and he says the swear words for him. That was very funny. Because he doesn't usually typically do that. But I thought that those were funny. And, of course, the we want to focus on at the AMAs. And we were at PTD Vegas when everyone was showing their signs. And the girl for the first time held up that sign with JK's abs. And we were there and we turned around and could see her holding up that sign. We almost lost it. I mean, that continues. They did too. That continues to
Yeah,
be,
but then what did he do? He
he was
picked
like,
up the shirt and he did the whoop.
a couple of times. Yeah. I mean,
That boy,
one
I
of
swear.
the things I think that's going through the whole year is the Marry Me Yoongi, right? So that continues even to the point I saw yesterday that TXT was doing a live and somebody wrote Marry Me Yoongi on their live. I mean,
I'm sorry.
because, it's just like somebody noted it, and said it's everywhere. And of course, Tay does perpetuate it and does keep saying, "Marry me, Yoongi," and then they all just start laughing. It's become quite a funny conversation, even to the point, in Vegas, we saw people dressed in their wedding dresses, ready for that. So the costumes, helped as well too. But
They
for
did.
me, those were some of the points really this year that really got me laughing out loud.
I loved so much, and I love all of those, but I love so much. I'm sorry, guys, that my head's down because I'm managing the chat at the same time. I love so much that no matter what, the running. Oh yes, but Hobie out laughing on their laugh after he read that. Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Hobie's laugh is funny. That's it. All
Mm-hmm.
you need is Hobie to laugh at something or Jimin. And that's it. You break out because that's all you need is one of the two of them. Oh
Yep.
my God, the fact that Namjoon perpetuated his God of Disaster this year. Dude,
Well,
I was like, did he do it in the White House too? I wonder if he broke anything in there.
do you ever laugh out loud? Do you play the BTS on the island game?
The island
And
game.
when RM's character goes to cook, the stove lights on fire.
Yes, I saw
So
it.
it's like, I mean,
I
it
was
just
like,
makes you laugh out loud. Even that makes you laugh out loud.
because they make the choices.
Yeah.
Everything in the psalm is them. So it's
Yeah.
not that someone's choosing it for them. Every single, and then in the psalm is its own iconicness, because
Mhm.
there are moments in the psalm that you will literally break out laughing because you're like, holy cripes, these boys
Because he
literally
falls asleep
know.
in every activity they go do. He
Yeah,
lays down and falls asleep.
but you realize they listen to every dang thing we write. They read everything because you're like, oh, yeah, they got that. They got that statement word for word.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh yeah, they really do listen. Oh, but
Definitely.
dude, every single time Jin tries to do a selfie, everything. These boys, I swear to
There is
goodness.
no such thing.
There's no
Mm-hmm.
such thing as Kim Suk Jin having a
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
This is exactly correct. They are. I agree with you,
Yeah.
and they know everything we say. But poor Kim Suk Jin. But when they did the telepathy episode,
Mm.
they're over at Jamshil Stadium, and he's like, "Can I just get just one?" And they're like, and Jim and
Mm-hmm.
Hobie was.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I love them so
No
much.
mercy. No
No,
mercy.
no mercy for the young. Not even a
Mm-hmm.
bit. Not
Mm-hmm.
happening. It was just,
Mm-hmm.
oh my god, it's amazing. So yeah, we could just keep laughing. I mean, there is almost no moment at which they're just not constantly ragging on each other, and
Yep.
the fact that no matter what, JK and Jin, or Tay and Jimin, or Tay and JK, and or Tay and Jin, they're always fighting on a stage. They're always
Yep.
fighting on a stage. It doesn't matter what, just turn around
Yes.
and they're fighting.
Well, even Busan, they gave each other a little kick, you
They
know,
gave each
two
other
little kicks.
oh, these boys, I
Mm-hmm.
swear.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're gonna go into the next one. And please bear with us because we only have a few minutes left. We're almost done with this. And then we're gonna attempt to the best of our ability to read through that list. Oh, I almost forgot what I was gonna say. Bear with us because we went to the Billboard numbers for people who joined later. They're 21, and then we're going through ours as Army. And it seems to me that the armies who's listening today are actually connecting exactly to the same points. So I love that because that feels amazing. I will say something that's somewhere in the middle of all of this. Being a person who read both sets of webtoons, Seven Fates Chaco, I don't want to miss out on giving it an appropriate shout out because they have a very strong input in their character representations in the writing and how that was represented between the animation version and the graphic version and the written version. And I love that there was a point at which I was started reading because it dropped early in the year, right? And then this when it came back, there was a point at which I realized to myself, oh my God, I'm completely invested in the characters.
Right.
That was brilliant. And I can find them in those characters. Now that's brilliant. And the story is a good story. It's so spiritually deep.
It is.
And the fact that Yoongi allowed himself to be a character that was so broken.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant. Smart. Intelligent. And fully broken. I mean, and I won't reveal anything because if you've not read Seven Fates Chaco, first of all, number one, go back and read the short, watch the short videos where they each define fate. I honestly think you need to read it because even if you don't read the webtoon, understand that those definitions, now that we've had the whole year to digest, we realized they were talking about themselves. Yeah. Fully. And their fate definitions led us straight into Festa. If you think of the Festa conversation, am I right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
Let us
and always kind of little hints, little glimpses as to what they want to say, and they're this close.
And then they can't, but then you realize, oh my God, they gave us these answers. They gave it to us in all 4 PDDs. They gave it to us as they were dropping these little hints and these, and yes, thank you so much. I really encourage everyone to read it. There's so
Mhm.
much to understand outside of it being BTS as these seven characters and the
Right.
beautifully dysfunctional nature of how
Mm.
they are so broken and have to try and find this way to connect in a way that it's impossible because they just are seven human beings who should never have connected.
Right.
Never. But yet
Right.
here they are. And it's
Yeah.
the same way they describe themselves. So for me, I think if I have to go back to iconic and moving and extremely
Mm.
relevant moment, I would say making the decision to
Seven feet.
go to create the Seven Fates Taco.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
and then giving that to us the way that they did.
Right.
So, absolutely, I didn't want to miss out on that for sure. So we're going to go to surprising moments. You want to go through those real quick?
Sure. I mean, I'll talk about a couple I know that I had talked about, and that was, the Festa announcement. Of course, that was super surprising. Didn't see that coming. Um, it took a while to digest, but of course, in Busan, Yoongi addressed that with like, "We never said hiatus. That was the media." And the boys were all like, "Oh no, what did he just say? What did he just say?" I think Yoongi was pretty straightforward in his feelings about that as well, and RM's made himself known what he felt about that as well. But getting a little skin in chapter 2 here. Some of those have been quite so a lot of skin from some. Waiting for Yoongi's skin, and where is Yoongi's tattoo? Maybe that will be answered in 2023. But
Well, we got
those,
skin in 2023 from Yoongi. We just
yeah,
got it the other day. So
true. So that was Tiffany. One of the things that she mentioned that she was looking for all the skin that we got, including now we are going to have maybe in Yoongi's folio some skin. Um, the friendship tattoos, have been, I think, great too. Someone had mentioned that as well. You talked about the Goose Goose Duck, and if you watched that 2 hour with Tay playing online video games and the Duck Duck, that game, then of course was just noted the other day that Steam game, 560,000 players on during that game. And
yes,
if you actually watch Army interacting with Tay in the game, actually makes you laugh out loud. Army just coming up and like kissing him, Army killing everyone around him, and
do you
his
remember what he was
reaction,
like? He was like, "Oh, Army's just killing everyone around me." I was
his
like,
reactions just watching it, like the one character just goes around, and then and someone comes up and throws him and his character like in the oven, and he's like, and he makes some really funny faces, watching him do that. Of course, like that again, kind of V's moment. Anytime he touches things, it just goes crazy. So for me, that's been some kind of surprising moments this year.
yeah, that was actually on my list too, as you can tell. So
Yep.
then of course the tattoos themselves happening. The fact that they've been talking about it since April, and then we got the reveal. But you know what the moment was for me
Mm,
was when Polly C actually revealed that the tattoos spell BTNS.
yes.
That's when I was like, "Are you kidding me, man? There's nothing that gets left to chance, not an ounce."
Nothing. No,
Because I
no, it's
kept wondering
purposeful.
why were some that had the line and some didn't have the line,
Yeah.
only
Yeah.
to find out that's why.
Right.
I was
Very
like,
purposeful.
it was
Hmm.
so purposeful. And I love that Polly C made the thing for them because I think he
Yeah.
made them the brooch, but
Right.
it's only for the seven of them, which thank
Hmm.
God it should be as it should be.
Right.
Um, yeah, and I love, and I was going to say that too, the fact that V had these iconic moments this year where he was
Hmm.
able to just, like you said, Sarah, you're perfectly exactly, but he was
Yeah.
able to break out and be himself in ways that maybe we
Yeah.
weren't sure about it. I think that doing the friendcation with Wooga Squad was a
Hmm.
big surprise for us, and
Hmm.
only to find out that they'd actually filmed it over a year ago.
Over a year ago. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that was incredible. And then to find out they've been building these folios for 2 years. Two
Yes.
years, guys.
Right.
Let's consider then how that the surprise of that is my God, they've been planning this for 2 years. For two
Yeah.
years, they've been
Yeah.
working on trying to get to this point.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking,
Right.
actually.
Right.
Heartbreaking when I realized it.
And realize that they kept going for us.
They kept going for us.
So that makes us do that much more for them.
Doesn't it? If
Yeah.
Army sits and listens to the little things that they say, you're going to
Yeah.
hear them reveal
Mhm.
so much. Just like they
Mhm.
did, well, I'm not going to keep saying because there's just so many reveals that they've done this year.
Yeah.
It's been so much.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we're all going to talk about Jin's back picture, single-handedly breaking Army, like globally. Jin broke Army. You guys realize that, right? You know that he
Yeah.
crashed servers and everything
Yeah.
with the back picture reveal.
Didn't see that one coming, not on my bingo card either.
I think if we had to come up with one of the biggest surprises, um, I think it was the fact that he just was like, I'm taking my shirt off and I'm showing you
Yeah.
where my tattoo is, Army, and
Yeah.
everything else while I'm at it. And we're like, oh, those shoulders are pretty wide. Wow.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like,
He's
dude,
yeah,
got this V body. You're like,
he
oh.
is a V.
The part that I love the most is the conversation that came after it. Where Namjoon's like, do you have pets?
Their comments on each other's pictures, Hobie most of it. Funny.
Namjoon is like, you could go to jail for that. He's like, for what? And he's like, I have pants on. I'm sorry. It's just hilarious.
Yeah.
So I'll put that into funniest moments because it really
Yeah.
was. And I'm sure
Yeah.
Ami agrees with me on it. I'm sure we all died. But
Yeah.
then I said the same thing. We had Jimin and Tay and Cookie being a given because Cookie always gives us that little bit of self skin revelation. But then we had Hoba. And my God.
Yeah.
And Hoba has just been like, here I am, my darlings.
Here
I
I am.
I am pure fire, and all the way to the
Yeah.
end of the year award ceremonies. That
Yeah.
red carpet was
Yeah.
dropped to the floor. Amazing. Amazing to the point that it made it to so many other celebrity
Right.
lists and so many lists of amazing moments. So
Right.
that red carpet look, I want to constantly say Hobie can't outdo himself. I want to constantly say that Tay can't outdo, but then they do.
They do. You're like, what's next? What more?
What
Mhm.
more?
Mhm.
Okay, so you could keep sharing with us later any of those iconic or funny or surprising moments, and we're going to go to our last category, and then after that, we are going to power read and then close up. So if you guys want to drop in your answers in here while we do this, we'll go ahead and we'll try and put them up. All right. So next section.
So this is the one that I actually probably is the biggest section for me, and that is the one strengthening your self-love and love for Bangtan. And one of the things that they have inspired me really a lot this last year was taking care of my health and physical well-being, and something that I'd not done as a teacher for a very long time. We
Mhm.
often neglect our health. And in the course of this year, 2022, I lost 25 pounds. And I had been exercising, and I use a lot of their, I listen to their music nonstop, but I watched The Rise of Bangtan over
Mhm.
and over. And I watched those episodes, and that was how I rode the bike or walked on the treadmill, was watching an episode, and it made the time go so fast. And then there's a lot of exercise videos put to BTS music,
Mhm.
and there's dance and there's walking. And for me, and I think I'm like lifting weights, and I'm like, RM does this, he does this, and he encourages us, and he shares his, journey that he's really gone on with exercise. And I feel like they inspire us to do that. And so that for me has really been like a huge moment in 2022, was to continue the health journey. And really that's been watching their exercise and their health and things like that has been really powerful. That's what I wrote really kind of stuck with me and keeps me with them.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And thank you so much for sharing that. Is it Lanny or Laney?
Lanny.
It's Lanny. Thank you so much for sharing that. And
Yeah.
that if it wasn't for those 2 years, I can't tell you how many Army would not be Army today. It's
Yeah.
pretty incredible the amount of people who came to them in these 2 years. because of dynamite, butter, and PTD. So, and thank you so much for this, Mildred. I really appreciate it. I'm just reading it as you go. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
some of the comments. I think Tiffany also, had wrote when we were talking about this, that to embrace everything that's all of you and chase after everything that you want. And a lot of us kind of dope old armies. I think we're at this point now that we go for things, and sometimes in the back of my mind I'll go, would Tay do this? Yes, he would. And this kind of self-talk, but if I'm looking around, because I live, in Doha, away from my family and things like that, so I don't often have anyone to turn to for decisions or things. And I'm like, would Tay do this? Would he go for this? I'm like, yes, he would. And so I feel like I have these extra little voices pushing me. And so I definitely agree with what Tiffany wrote as well.
And that she said unapologetically, and that is
Yeah.
absolutely the fact. The fact
Yeah.
is that at some point, it's knowing confidently that your choice is the right choice. So, oh, thank you, Jerry. I know you're showing lots of love for our Angela. I'm so. Let me tell you just real quick before I go into my last one, and then we're going to power read. An iconic moment for me. I'm going to go back to it. Is the moment we all opened our Weverse ticket, the raffle, and the raffle results.
Mm-hmm.
I had applied for raffles for 4.5 years and never won one. Not one raffle. And I thought and thought and thought, and I had just come back from 2 months. As you guys knew, I was there for the 2 months. Had just come back, and my soul was missing them in every way, shape, or possible. It took me 7.5 years to see them live, and then it took me 8 years to get to Korea. And then I went and I stayed for the 2 months, and you guys know my story. And in that time, everywhere I turned, there was a way to see them. So I thought, okay, I'm going home, and it's what it is. When I opened,
Yeah.
and saw that you were a winner,
Yeah.
every ounce of me started to shake. I'm not that person. That's not what happens to me. I'm a very collected person. Very. And I started to tremble.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
toe, every single part of me. I was just like,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. It's for I couldn't, I can't reproduce what it felt in that moment. And if I
Yeah.
had ever had a question in my life as to whether I love them and
Yeah.
whether they meant something to me,
Yeah.
you question yourself a lot when you're older, and you're like, well, I shouldn't love these 7 boys. They're so young. What is it about it that creates this beautiful relationship we have that makes no sense because they don't know me, but at the same time they know me. And you question yourself because you're older, and you question yourself for a lot of reasons. In that moment, my body told me that this was true,
Mm-hmm.
that this was absolutely real, that
Mm-hmm.
they had changed every part of me. So
Mm-hmm.
that, without that happening, I would have never met you.
Mm-hmm. That's true. There are definitely not coincidences. Things happen for a reason. And I think, Nisha and I complement each other, me having a lot, background in curriculum and working with children, and Nisha's medical background. We have a lot of discussions on mental health,
We
the
do.
brain, and then, kind of what BTS has, sometimes not even about BTS, but
No.
it's in the background. It's in the background. What has encouraged us to kind of pursue these paths that we're on now, which, let's be honest, a few years ago, many of us would not be on the paths that we're on now.
No.
But it's because of them and the people we've met, like Terry and Lanny, who have supported me, have been some of my biggest cheerleaders. And Lanny and Terry gave me my first big moment, allowing me to dance to Dynamite and putting that video on the internet. I mean, I just like they gave me that moment, and it was so special, and I love them for that. And to meet them in Vegas, um, it's been just a journey that I was not expecting.
No. So there's your unexpected, because that's the unexpected that we've all been having as we move along. I found family here that I could never have ever imagined that I would find. And and it's family that I knew I needed.
Yeah,
It was the gift that the boys give us constantly, and they have no idea they're giving this.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and
Hmm.
I mean, Sarah and I met. Think about how we met, Sarah. You know, we both happened to be sitting at Yu Ching Sik Tong, you know, me for my goodbye dinner before I got ready to leave. And she sat there, and I said,
Wow,
don't sit by yourself. Come and sit with my group. And so
wow,
here we are, you know, just
yeah,
this chance meeting. And it's been this lovely relationship. And
beautiful.
it's just beautiful symbiosis. And the one that I have with Asha now, and meeting her that first day in KBS, and both of us having that experience, and the first time us seeing them together after me all those years. And she lives there. So it's just, yeah, this year was
Beautiful.
filled with these moments of just pure, absolute, brilliant, dynamic love that I know we would never have had without them.
Of course, of
So I'm
course.
going to close out with my
Yeah.
one lesson that I've learned. And the lesson that I have learned, and I have been learning for 7 years and 8.5 years now, but it took this year to solidify it. Even though I teach it, guys, I teach, you know, self-care, I teach self-reflection, I'm neuropsychiatry, I'm mental wellness. My goal is to reduce suicide. My goal is to help people live confidently and self-accept. That doesn't always mean that I find that in myself. I've had a very difficult life, and I'm open to to letting people understand that.
Mm-hmm.
This year, there was one series of moments where I realized that I am enough. I've been saying it forever. It's literally the motto on our shirt that we have for my company, DG. But I realized that I am enough. No matter what my inner uncertain self tries to tell me or hoodwinks me into thinking, I am enough. And that me is allowed to cry, to be confused, to be unsure, and
Yeah.
to continue my self reflection for as long as it takes. And then to do it all over again if I need to do it again.
Yeah.
This person is enough. I
Yeah.
don't always have to search to find a part of myself that belongs to someone else. I need to search to find the parts of me that belong to me and that
Yeah.
are that today's me isn't the end of my story. I am a summation of the years and years of my moments, my thoughts and my failures, my successes, my friendships, my dreams, my imaginings, and my musings, just like Indigo shows us.
Mm-hmm.
And I really took to heart that Namjoon created the word flower work in 2015
Mm-hmm.
when I realized that was a moment. That was a moment that propelled me. And it was just the other day
Mm-hmm.
when I realized that he had created that word in 2015, and I knew them already. And he just couldn't make it fit or make sense in his work and in his music until he was able to create Wildflower. That it took him 7 years. 7 years to create a sentence that made sense in his vocabulary. So
Yeah.
why couldn't I have taken that much time? Why wasn't it for me to do it?
Mm.
When I said to other people, I am enough, tell yourself that I needed to do the same thing and to cut out the regrets.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Indigo tells you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just what Indigo tells you, right? That is what the astronaut tells you.
Mm-hmm.
It tells you that there's a love in this world
Yeah.
that we have that exists in such a state of pureness, absoluteness, that it doesn't matter the rest of it.
Right.
That love will always exist, and it will
Right.
always reach out to you, and it will find you.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I teach it a lot. And I really, really, really believe it. But did I grace myself with it? Probably not. And I shared that with you. I shared that with you, with Jackie, and a couple of people that, even with me teaching, every moment of recreating this entire program, the entire the research in the book was my own way of finding myself. And I realized, oh my God, Namjoon and I were on the exact same journey for the exact amount of time. My brother died in 2010. I created the company in 2012. I found the boys in the beginning of 2014. And my journey to figure out how to make this work for me, and then how to help other people find their confidence and their awareness of self, started in that same year. So the word flower work, I got it. It made every sense to me in the world. It was a revelation. And yeah, that sense of, yes, I am enough. It's not just 3 words anymore. It's something that actually means something.
Right.
I have a vocabulary behind it.
Right.
I have an entire mass of people behind me who are proof of that. And that's what the boy said. You are my goddamn proof. And the
You are
moment,
bulletproof.
it's the truth. When he said it, when he said it, you are my God, excuse my language, don't kill me. You are my goddamn proof. I sat there and I went, okay. And you are our goddamn proof.
Yeah.
Because it's a two-way story. It is the two of us. We're working together.
Right.
It's this beautiful collective hug. And because of you, I know myself. And now because of us, you know yourself. What a gift. That's the lesson that this year brought to me.
Yeah. Beautiful. Very beautiful.
Yep. I hope it made sense, and I hope it wasn't a run-on. But yeah, I have to thank Namjoon in every way possible. But I also have to thank the 20 to 30 to 40 to 100 to 200 army who I've met over this year, who are now close to me in my existence. You know, the 10 to 12 who are part of this Living Bangtan 7 journey, who from across the world have trusted this belief that I have, that we have together, and that has brought us to this place where we can share these words with everyone, and share our journeys in this way. It would never have happened. It could never have happened.
Okay. We might know who Lanny's bias is.
Oh, I wonder. I couldn't possibly be who I was just talking about.
But I have to say, Lanny, she's an amazing artist. And if you don't follow her on Instagram,
Well, send me your stuff. We need graphic artists, Lenny.
she's an amazing artist. So I think, your bias calls you for a reason, right? You connect to your bias for a reason. So,
I mean, I'm OT7 for a lot of reasons.
but you have a very strong bias.
But you guys, I have 2 very strong biases, and hello, hello. There's a lot of reasons for why I'm as connected as I am to the 2 of them, and for a lot of reasons. So, okay, my love.
Here's Lanny's Instagram.
I know.
Junior Art.
I had a question who the bias was. Hello. I always tell everybody that if Namjoon isn't your bias in some shape or form, then you're probably not an OT7. Honestly, Namjoon sits at the base of everything.
I know. Yeah.
There is no anything without Namjoon.
Correct.
But then there's no anything without any of them.
Right.
But there's no any of them without Namjoon. And this is how I explain it to people. Because you get it. You understand it completely. So, yeah. Thank you, Junie, my love. My sweet boy. And of course, my Jinnah, and of course, my Hoseok, and of course, my Jimina, and of course, my Deonga, and of course, Uka, and of course, my Yunga. Yunga has a lot to do with when you guys eventually read the book, you'll find all 7 of them everywhere. You'll understand so much. Yes, Namjoon sits at the base of everything, but we need all 7 perfectly. That's what I said. It's exactly it. Exactly. Okay,
Exactly.
fellas, are we going to try and run through this, or
Yeah,
are we go ahead and
let's
say,
do it.
okay, girl, you ready for this? Because this is going to be crazy. Okay, I'm going to start out and I'm going to get my way through May, and then you're going to go from there.
Okay.
Remember, we're only starting in February, and this is only the highlights, guys. This is not even all of it. Okay, 2022 BTS events, folios, vlogs, artists created merch, etc., etc., etc. February 11th, we had JK with Stay Alive, the 7 Fates Taco, all ready to go. March 12th to the 13th, PTD Soul. That with Psy and Yoongi. April 4th, the Grammy Awards, woo and the Butter performance. April 8th to 9th, 15th to 16th, PTD Vegas, woo! Oh, PTD last night, the 16th, the screen going black, and we got Proof is Coming. We are bulletproof. Whoa! April 24th, OST with you release with Jimin and Hyung and his best friend as well. Sorry, it went out of my mind for 1 second. April 29th, that would sign with Suga and Yoongi. That was an important moment because I think that's when they did that live and to see Yoongi dance, and where Yoongi gave us the Bangtan bomb, and we were able to actually realize that he'd written and produced and helped with the choreo. Crazy. May 31st, White House visit, iconic moment, as we all know. June 13th, V Live. I was there. I was actually sitting outside of Hyde, people, when that happened. June 14th, Festa dinner. Guess where I was? I was at the 2018 Festa dinner spot eating dinner when they did the Festa dinner.
Wow.
Yeah, that was something, let me tell you.
Yeah.
And June 10th, I am actually you start from June 10th. There you go.
Okay.
This is
So
back.
we've got June 10th, yet to come video released, the Proof album released. Of course, that was huge. June 10th, we also had filmed the Music Bank in Kagayo, KBS. That was like
Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
that was iconic as well. June 24th, we had Left and Right released with JK and Charlie Puth. We have June 27th, in Paris for the Celine Fashion Show. June 18th, the In the Somme game released in the island. We've got V's driving log in July. Listen to many songs in the iconic Lizzo moment with her new song that he vibed to as well. We had the start on July 13th of duality photos. According to the members' birth dates and their times of the day, we had those photos starting to be released. We've got July Vogue Korea with J-Hope. We've got J-Hope in his pre-release party. Multiple press junkets for Jack in the Box. Then Jack in the Box was released in July. We've got J-Hope on IU's palette. So that was an interesting moment as well in the year. July 22nd, the Francation with Wooga Squad. We've got July 30th, the announcement by Lollapalooza that Hobby's merch sales exceeded 1 million. They had to restock, first artist to sell out a Sunday in Lollapalooza history. And he was there, closed out the show, over 100,000 fans, and danced Jin's part in the Dynamite song as well, where he did that little bit of adaptation of the choreography. We've got August, we've got the 7 Fates resumed. We've got August 5th, we've got Bad Decisions. We've got September 1st, Sexy New Kim, if you haven't heard that. That one's a great one to get going. September, we've got Vogue Korea with V. We've got then, of course, the huge iconic October 15th and those dates all around there with Busan leading up to, Busan's hopefully petition for what they were working for. We've got Yoongi and Busan, the iconic moment of him not looking while they're holding hands in the circle before they go on stage. So we know that that's his moment to say that they will still continue. October 28th, you want to keep going because that's some of your...
October 28th, the Astronaut was released, and Jin performed in Argentina with Coldplay the 28th to 29th based on where you were at the time. The music video was released as well. Chris Martin's love for Jin and the members, even interviews. He will not let anyone say anything negative about them. Still brings Uto on the stage with them every night since then. And so sweet for ARMY. Everybody loves their relationship. And that's solidified for the entire globe, including Billboard, etc., that Jin as a soloist had the ability, and BTS had this very strong, close relationship with the other largest music band in the world. It was a very important moment. November RM on Rolling Stone with Pharrell, where he hosted the musician with musician. November 6th, Jin on Running Man because he wanted to, and he wanted to do all these iconic shows that he'd been waiting forever to do. Oh my God. And then we got November 13th with the Run BTS practice video, and the entire world went crazy. And we're still doing the challenges to today because within the same week, we got the Run BTS challenges from Hive, and so many people have done that. November 20th, JK opens the World Cup. Iconic, so meaningful. And actually, in that same week, if I'm not mistaken, coming down, but I'll put it in a little bit later, JK opening the World Cup. November 21, the AMA wins. Woo! History, baby, history. They became the only group to win it 4 times in a row. November 30th, J-Hope at the Mama Awards. And then I'll let you get December. And somewhere in this moment here, in this week, which we don't have on here, Otogi Jin Ramen was announced.
Well, we cannot not mention food.
I mean, it's gin and food. Hello.
That's right. Eat gin.
The boy waited 6 years for that moment. We're going to announce it. Go ahead. December 2nd.
Yep. So the biggest moments right in the December, we have Indigo released, been an amazing accomplishment, and RM performing at the venue with just 200 Army. Very, very beautiful performance with people that he had collaborated with. So that was also in that first week in December. Then he was performed at Dia Beacon in New York City. That was iconic, a place that he'd wanted to visit as well. Then we have December 13th, Jin enlisting in the Korean Army.
Collective sigh. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I mean, we can't overshadow that, but it's becoming, that has become kind of a point of the year to really note, because that's a turning point in a lot of what's to come in the next few years. December 31st, we had J-Hope back in New York City for the New York Eve party. So that's been that was a great way to end the year, 2022.
It was, but and the last 3 weeks there were actually a lot of announcements that happened, and it had to do with collaborations. That's when we found out about Vibe. In the last week, we found out about Vibe. Well, actually, we found out now,
right?
And we found out that there were other collabs coming, and there's so many of things, but we're not going to go over them at this moment. And we got it. Woohoo! We are ready. We made it.
That was a lot for the year. That was a lot.
So we did ask the question of Army out in our chats, and one of the most iconic, memorable moments of the year for Army themselves was when Army found out that Run BTS was coming back, and the excitement as we will be seeing them, because we found out that they had recorded everything.
Right.
And then the Samsung documentary as narrators, and then the Hyundai documentary as the narrators of the hero films. That was a lot. We got it in.
We did, and we know we didn't get it all, but it took us hours of talking just together to get those.
It did. There's so much. If we had to do it,
because you want to do a show about each one of those moments, right?
Yeah, we do. We really do. Especially, the Hyundai and the Samsung hero moments, and them representing nice break we had in 2022. That would be correct.
It's 2:50 in the morning. I have to get up at 4:30 to teach 12-year-olds.
I am so sorry.
No, so I'm like, this is the break. We're on a break. We're on a break.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying on with us. This has been an amazing group, everyone. You've just kept us so alive and kept us chatting. And yes, oh my God, my wallet is crying. That's what I was saying, Sarah. And our poor wallets not only did it not get a break,
and more to come in 2023, I bet you.
Every 10 minutes, I mean, Namjoon's vinyl, and then Jimin's other thing is going to come because his album's going to drop. And then,
And isn't it the BT21 merch is dropping today, tomorrow?
21 and Tiny Tan. So there's an entire new Tiny Tan merch line that was dropped, that was announced yesterday. And this particular merch line, I've never bought before, but I would do this one. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. What I do love, you're so welcome, everyone. Thank you. I hope we did it. I think we did a good job. Oh my God. What I love so much is that I actually love this type of merch because it's extremely relatable. And
Yeah.
we're going to move into a different show where we talk about the relatability of the merchandise and how carefully they work to try and create products that are sustainable, which
Yeah.
of course is about the SDGs. And of course, the sustainability development goals are built into all of our shows, which a lot of you don't know, but because that is our research, it is built into
Mhm.
it. And we are 15 minutes over time. Don't even know how that happened. So next show is next week, and it's going to be called Chaos
Park
with Jimin. PJM1 is coming.
is
It's going to be all
coming.
about Park Jimin, my darling, my sweet, my he's my
My
little
Jimmy.
my little Jimmy. I can imagine. Oh, thank you. Hey.
Join us
All right,
next
my
week.
loves. Hey, everyone. And from next week, we are working on our Hobie event, our Hobie Soap event, and we're going to be hosting our own charity event. So just look for that on our site so that you guys can help us to get that word out and help us to reach our and get to our goal. If you have any recommendations for a show, please feel free to drop it in the chat for us because we're always going backwards. And please follow us on YouTube, like and subscribe. We really need those likes and subscribes. We're about 40 away from moving on to our next level, which allows us to bring a lot more to you. A lot more to you. So you'll find us on YouTube, Facebook. You're going to find us on Tumblr. We even have a blog spot, which will go live pretty soon, where we'll have interaction in our writings. And I was supposed to launch it already, but we were all ill at the beginning of the year. So as of the new year, we are launching a whiteboard series. The whiteboard series will be topics like this that you're going to see at the bottom. Each of these topics is going to then be turned into a whiteboard for self-care and wellness. And what you do is you use these prompts to be able to create your own to create your self-care plan for that week. Or if you want to use the same exact plan for 3 weeks, that's up to you. But we're going to be creating these plans. I've already created them. I've been working on them for a long time. And they all come out of my book.
Mm-hmm.
And
So
look forward to it, my friends. We'll be bringing them to you as soon as we can. We have the first 2 are ready to go.
peace.
Okay, us. Jorge, we purple you. Apobangpo. We love our boys.
Night.
Forever. BTS forever. Love to all. Jorge. Bye.